Happy morning, friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to day 15 session. Today we are just going to discuss on Python list. Python offers a range of compound data types, often referred to as sequence. List is one of the most frequently used and very versatile data types used in Python. What is list? See, Python list is a data structure which is used to store various types of data. In Python, lists are mutable. That is, Python will not create a new list if we modify an element of the list. It works as a container that holds other objects in a given order. We can perform various operations like insertion or deletion on list. A list can be composed by storing a sequence of different type of values separated by commands. Creating a Python list. See, in Python programming, a list is created by placing all the items inside square bracket, which is separated by commas. All the elements in list are stored in the index basis with starting index 0. It have any number of items and they may be of different types, integer, float, or string, etc. And here is dear example. Dear friends, kindly have a note. A list with a variable name list is equal to, in a square bracket, it is having an integer 1, it has a float value 5.2 and one more integer 96 and a string value face, which is all are in uppercase, and a string with a python, and again a float value with 8.6. And see here, dear friends, it can be indexed in both the way, that is forward indexing and backward indexing. Whereas in the forward indexing, it would be in a positive as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas negative indexing, which we just say is the backward indexing, it's specified with the negative indexing and just starts with -1. And below is the exact syntax of the list. So list name, which is equivalent to everything which we were giving in a square bracket, that is the elements or items inside would be in a square bracket separated with a comma. Let me just see with an example, dear friends. Here we are creating an empty list without having any items in the list. So my list, it just produce an or creates an list with a variable name my list, and it has nothing in it as an element, and which it is said to be an empty list. Next one, the list which it just has an integer values as like 1 and 2 and 3, whereas it is inside a square bracket with an separated commas. Next, it just has the list with mixed data types, and as I have already specified, this list it just has an integer, a string value and a float value. And next comes an nested list, a list within a list. And see here, dear friends, we are having a list of 3 elements. One is mouse and another one is a list and another one more list. And the second one, which has the list of an integer value as 9, 3 and 6, whereas the third list which just has only one element as a, it is a string. And next, this list 4, it just has everything in a string, and as like foo, bar, bars, cuz, qux and coach. So all the things are having it in a string value. And next comes one more list which it just has an mixed as like one is a string, integer, and a float, and a string, and one more string. And let I just execute it, dear friends. Kindly have the look. See here, the first one is empty list, and where if you want to print the length of my list, it is 0. That is what the second output value. Okay, so it has a 0 length of list element. And the third one is the my list of 1, which has an integer of 1 2 3, and the list 2, which it just has a mixer data of 1 hello and 3.5, that is integer, a string, and a float. And next comes the list 3. It has a list, nested list. So dear friends, just kindly have a look. That is the mouse is one of the list, and the next 936 is another list. Inside this list, it is the index of 1. Okay, and next comes the list with an string values, and next one more list with an mixed data. Okay, next, how accessing elements from a list. So there are various ways in which we can access the element of a list. Let me just first use the list index. We can use the index operator, that is the square bracket, to access an item in a list. In Python, indexes starts at 0. So a list having 5 elements will have an index from 0 to 4. As I have already given here, it is an example which it just has a 5 element, and the index, which we just say is the positive index, it just starts from 0 and ends with 4. And trying to access index other than these indices will raise an index error. The index must be an integer. We can't use float or other data types. This will result in type error. Nested lists are accessed using nested indexes. Let me just see everything with an example, dear friends. So here it is the list, everything in a string value, that is PROBE. Now, I want to get the execution of, or picking an element, or accessing an element of the my list, whereas my list of 0, my list of 2, and my list of 4. So 0, it is the index which is just starts as P, and for the 2, list of 2, it is O, and list of 4, it just be the end of that string element. Next one, nested list. See here, dear friends, this n list, it just has 2 elements. One is happy and another one is a list. Okay, so when I just make use of that one, so here we are just having 0 of 1. 0 of 1, it is in the sense here 0 is happy and its 1 is, instead of this thing, h is of 0 and a is of 1. So if I just give it in a double matrix thing, double two dimensional thing, so here 0 of 1, it just returns with an a. And when I just gave a 1 comma 3, 1 in the sense it is the list of second one, and here if I just make use execution of third, that is 1 comma 3, that is 0 1 2 and 3, so it results with 5. And see here, dear friends, there is one more execution where I have just given a float number inside the element that has to be accessed. So it results with an typo error. So we just got the results of the previous one and now a typo error. Next one, negative indexing. Python allows negative indexing for its sequences. The index of -1 refers to the last item. and -2 to the second last item, and so on. Let me just discuss with an example, dear friends. See here, the same PROBE is the element, and when I just want to access the element by using the negative value, that is -1, it is the last character, okay, last element, and next for the -5 it is the first element. I just make an execution of this, dear friends. Kindly have a look of the same. And note, dear friends, if the index provided in the list is outside the list, then it raises an index error exception. Okay, next comes how to slice list in Python. Okay, here it is already mentioned. We can access a range of items in the list by using the slicing operator, which is a colon. So here it just starts, dear friends. We have to provide the list name and the starting element and the stopping element, and it is incremented or jumped by the steps. Is the exact syntax of slicing the list in Python. Let me just see it with an example, dear friends. I just execute this by, see here, my list, it just has PROGRAMING. That is the programming. It just splitted it as an each and every as a single element. Now when I'm coming to the positive index, it just starts from 0 and ends with ends with 9. When coming to the negative indexes, it just starts with -1 from the backward, and it just ends at -10. Okay, so when I just make use of this by you giving this as a slicing variable. Now see here, dear friends, my list of 2:5. 2:5 is, it has to start with 2 and ends with, that is stop with 5. But when I'm providing this in a sequence manner, this 2 is the element 2. So 0, 1 and 2. But when coming to this 5, it has to stop before to the top element. That is, the 5 is it, you should not include the 5, rather you have to start before to the top 5. So that is, if it specifies the stop letter, you have to specify that is stop -1, that is the element value. Okay, and for your information, kindly have note this, dear friends. If I just specify 2:5, it has to start from the 2, that is index 2 is the third element, and 5 it has to stop it, so that 5 -1 it is 4. So the third and fourth element has to be displayed, that is third to the top fourth. Okay, and next comes, if I didn't provide any starting, or that is the beginning or the ending element, that is the range, then it just specify it is from the default. So if I didn't provide the starting access item, that is the range, then it has to be default from the beginning. If I didn't provide the ending, that is the stopping element range, then it's just be as a default till the end. Okay, and for your information, if I didn't provide the both the starting and the ending, so it has to be as like a whole of that list. I executed, dear friends. For your kind information, have a note of this. See here, the first one, it is the from third till fourth elements, that is it is 2, 3 and 4. And next comes the beginning till -5, and -5 it is A. So from the beginning till the 8th element, that is before to the top, it has to be stopped. And to the same for, it has to start from 5 until the ending, so it just ends at G. And next one, hold the list, it has to be executed. And kindly have a note of this, dear friends. Slicing can be visualized by considering the index to be between the element as shown here. See here, this is what. So if we want to access a range, we need two indexes, that is